All right, guys, we're going to start this show here in a matter of moments. Very excited for today's show. We've got some news to report to you. We now have the green light to let you know who the new owner of Moe's on Ivy Road is. It's a name you may recognize. It's the owner of a business elsewhere. In fact, we will have a portion of the ownership team on the program tomorrow to talk about the torch being passed from Mike and Ashley Abrams to Derek Bond and his team at Moe's on Ivy Road. We're also going to make a compelling argument for you of why the Ivy Road corridor may be one of the best places to launch in food and beverage business in Charlottesville and Albemarle County. We'll relay to you what Charlottesville is missing right now as we've given more thought to this topic. My answer may surprise you. I've thought about this quite a bit. We'll chatter half of employers planning layoffs at their respective companies, and we'll talk Charlottesville's first black-owned brewery. Alex Erpy will join us as well. We have a very good program lined up for you on a Tuesday here in Charlottesville. Judah, we can rock and roll when you are ready. Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille show. I'm Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us. A pleasure to connect with you guys through the I Love CVille network, where our audience is Central Virginia-wide, Commonwealth-wide, country-wide, and worldwide. We do this show live Monday through Friday at right about 12:30. Usually start a smidge after 12:30 as we're scrambling to get things on air for you. We enjoy connecting with you through the network, where we relay stories to you that we find fascinating or interesting. And frankly, of late, a lot of the content we pass along to you is crowdsourced from you, the viewer and listener. I'd like to do more of the crowdsourcing of the content as we trust you guys, the viewing and listening public, with making us better, holding us accountable, and frankly, by passing along ideas that you find fascinating as well. The show is dynamic. You, the viewer and listener, can offer thoughts and perspective by sharing your ideas through direct messages in the comments section of all the social media platforms the show airs upon. We thank Skooma Boutique Dispensary for being a part of the show. Locally owned and operated. The guy and his wife literally live in the community. They have a location on the downtown mall and on Ellwood Avenue, and they're planning expansion in the near future. Skooma Boutique Dispensary. A lot I want to cover today. We're going to let you know about the new ownership team at the Melting Pot, at Moe's Barbecue. The new owner is the proprietor and the current owner of the Melting Pot. All around A-plus guy. His name is Derek Bond. He takes over from Mike and Ashley Abrams at Moe's on Ivy Road. Intimate knowledge of this deal as the business broker who helped facilitate the transaction, a deal done among friends. Mike and Ashley, as we relayed to you last week, friends of ours, been friends for 7 or 8 years since they arrived here in Charlottesville. Derek Bond, friends of ours, been friends for years with him as well. Always have appreciated his mindset, his common sense approach to life, and how he goes about running his business. You saw at the Melting Pot, Derek Bond did not really see a drop in headcount with his employees. And that's because the man really knows how to run a shop. He knows how to run a business, a restaurant. So more details on that transition as Derek Bond takes over a restaurant that has, frankly, just a fantastic location. I'm going to make a convincing and compelling argument for you on today's show of how Ivy Road and the Ivy Corridor could be the most compelling, the most full of potential strip or location to run or operate a restaurant in Charlottesville and Albemarle County. It's no secret there's significant wealth in Ivy, and if you take a second, maybe 30 seconds, and think of the restaurant options on Ivy Road, you realize there's not that many choices. The choices you have are damn good. I mean, damn good. Dooners has withstood the test of time. Vivace has withstood the test of time. Dooners and Vivace are icons, not just on the Ivy corridor, but icons in Central Virginia. You have the Ivy Inn, another icon. Angelo and Farrell have built an institution in the Ivy Inn. You have Ivy Provisions as another icon, a sandwich shop that has turned a craft sandwich into a must-have, Ivy Provisions. Ivy Provisions, a sister brand, a sister company to Fry Spring Station, a sister company to Shadwell's. It's not Shadwell's now, it's Piedmont Place on Pantops, right? The Piedmont on Pantops. And Augusta Kitchen, I think, is their other sister, but that's out of market. I don't know that one as well. I know Fry Spring Station inside and out. I know the Piedmont on Pantops, formerly Shadwell's, inside and out. And I know Ivy Provisions inside and out. But Foods of All Nations also has good sandwiches. Their deli is great. They have a lot of grab and goes and a lot of sandwiches and just a fantastic deli at Foods of All Nations. Moe's Barbecue obviously is damn good. But you look at the wealth profile of Ivy, significant. You look at the fact that the data science school is going to Ivy. You look at the fact that the University of Virginia is opening a hotel and a conference center and an events center right there on Ivy. You look at the fact that UVA just opened that new orthopedic center next to Vivace on Ivy, thanks to the phenomenal hard work of Dr. Bobby Chabra and his team of opening that orthopedic center on Ivy Road. Centera opened one literally right next to it. There's a planned apartment complex in the works next to St. Anne's Belfield. And you know the University of Virginia is connecting ground to the Boar's Head Resort with a sidewalk. And I'm trying to do this, I think I'm doing this convincingly for you, a very compelling argument that the Ivy Road corridor is under-restauranted. It's under-restauranted. And the entry price point for families, let's say you're a mom and dad, you want something fast, you want it priced efficiently and effectively and cheaply, and you want it to go quickly. I mean, what options do you have? You got Moe's. Moe's fits that profile. It accommodates families from a price point standpoint. Yes, maybe Foods of All Nations if you hit the deli and you grab some of their sandwiches or their sushi or some of their pre-made meals to go. Bel Air Market, the Sutton brothers, they have a nice little grab and go setup at the Exxon at the gas station at Bel Air. But literally, where, if you're a family on the west side of town, the Ivy side of town, where's your grab and go, keep it under $50 for a family of four? Heck, I don't even think you can keep it under $50. Can you keep it under, let's go two-shot. Let's welcome Judah B. Wickower here to the program. Can you keep it under $50, a family of four? I mean, under $50, you're going to have to clock $10 a head. Can you do $10 a head these days for a family of four?
I don't know. That's pretty.
I don't think you can. Can you do a family of four meal for under $50? You could at Bel Air. You can at Bel Air. Let's see the prices at Bel Air. I get the Keswick at Bel Air.
I mean, you're talking about just sandwiches?
I mean, that's all you could get. You could maybe get a bag of chips. Let's see what the menu is. And man, this shows you, this is a reflection of what COVID has done to price points. COVID has caused this. COVID has caused this. I'm going to their website. I think the Keswick, the sandwich I get's like $9. I think it's about, let's call it $9, $8.95, I believe. I don't think you do it under 50. I'll say under 60. What can you do under $60? A family of four, grab and go, take out, quick, immediately. You can do Moe's.
Fast food.
There's no fast food on Ivy Road.
Oh.
There's no fast food on Ivy Road. Ivy Road's got significant prohibitions in place, legalese in place, prohibitive language in place that would prevent fast food from ever coming down Ivy Road. What can you do under $60 for a family of 4? You got Moe's, Ivy Provisions, you got Bel Air Market. Ivy Provisions closes at 3 p.m. Ivy Provisions is out. Here's my point. This is my point. I'll make a strong argument, and I think I just did. Underserved restaurant corridors, pockets in Charlottesville and Albemarle County. Ivy Road might be the most underserved.
Definitely.
Shadwell's Keswick is pretty damn underserved. But the reason you're moving out to Shadwell and Keswick is because you want farmland, preservation, rolling hills, and a lot of green. Keswick and Shadwell, more underserved from a restaurant standpoint than Ivy Road, but the people moving to Keswick and Shadwell undoubtedly know this. Ivy Road, you're urban ring. Keswick, Shadwell, you're not urban ring. Ivy Road's urban ring. I'd say urban ring goes on Ivy Road.
Ivy's getting out of there, getting out of the urban ring.
Boar's Head and Inn is urban ring. Dooners and Inn is urban ring. I would say urban ring could stop there at the 250X, where you could go toward Henley and Western or toward Crozet Vet. That little divider right there is the stop of the urban ring. What do you guys think is the stop of the urban ring down Ivy? Is it Dooners? Is it Dooners? Neil Williamson jumping in here. Do property restrictions that prevent fast food restaurants help or hurt consumers? Let's touch on that topic. That's a good one, King of Content. Neil Williamson, the president of the Free Enterprise Forum. Just an all-around nice guy who I would saddle up to a bar with and have a beer or a glass of delicious wine from Well-Hung Vineyards. Do the restrictions help or hurt consumers?
I think it depends on the consumers. I mean, in some cases, it helps because I'm sure the people that live out Ivy don't want to see
That's right.
McDonald's and
That's right.
Taco Bell and stuff like that.
Bingo.
On the other hand, if people want more variety, then you kind of you're preventing it.
Judah, well said. Excellent answer right there. Said it better than I could. Succinctly, too. Props on being the succinct aspect of that answer. He's 100% right.
If only we were all succinct.
That goes both ways, my friend. That goes both ways. But he's 100% right. The folks along the Ivy Corridor would be vehemently opposed to a fast food, big box brand on Ivy. Vehemently opposed. There's no way in hell a McDonald's or a Taco Bell or a Wawa or a Sheetz would ever get greenlit in that quarter.
And that's, I think, why Ivy Road will always be underserved.
That's a question I have. Will it always be underserved? And then the follow-up question I have is, you have some businesses in the University Shopping Center, the shopping center right next to the Foods of All Nations Shopping Center. The Foods of All Nations Shopping Center is called Ivy Square. The one right next to it is University Shopping Center. I have some intelligence on that shopping center. It's a commercial HOA building. There are many different owners in that building. Hunter Craig has tried to purchase that building multiple times. Because of the many different owner nature of that building, it was difficult for Hunter to purchase. He was
Probably better that he didn't.
What's that?
Probably better that he didn't.
He owns units in that shopping center, Hunter does. Hunter is the developer that developed the building across from the Boar's Head, where many of the Ivy Square tenants are moving from Ivy Square to across from the Boar's Head. If someone could create a brand or business that can cater to the family of 4 below 60, they would crush it there. Because from a dinner standpoint, you got A++ Moe's, you got Bel Air,
would you
Maybe
you
Foods of
really-
All Nations if you want to run into the grocery store.
You really call Bel Air dinner?
I call it Bel Air dinner. You know, the Bel Air sandwiches are some of the best sandwiches out there.
Oh, they're great sandwiches. I just don't think of that as dinner.
You don't think a sandwich is dinner? What's your beef with dinner? What's your beef with sandwich?
I love dinner and I love sandwiches, and oftentimes I will mix the two. But
A delicious
I don't
French
tend to
baguette is
think-
good.
But not for dinner.
I would love the Keswick for
a
dinner.
French baguette for dinner.
A French baguetted Keswick on Kite's Country ham with that spicy, peppery mustard and a little
I'm not-
Swiss
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with
and a
the
nice
sandwiches
Minuteman.
there. I love their sandwiches.
Ivy
It's been
Provisions
quite
is a
while.
good one, Curtis Shaver, but that one closes at 3. That's definitely a good one, Curtis Shaver, Ivy Provisions. A family of 4 can get a meal for under $60 on Ivy in the Ivy Quarter at Ivy Provisions. But it closes at 3 p.m. So dinner time, that's not an option. And if you want some damn good sandwiches, go to Curtis Shaver's Peloton Station.
Yeah.
Dude knows sandwiches inside and out. He's got skills to pay the bills. That is an underserved area, especially for the depth of wealth there. And
That's probably part of the reason why it is underserved, because they don't want lots of businesses.
I think that's changing. I think new guard, younger families are moving into these neighborhoods and they want more food options. The old guard, the OG, is passing away. The boomers are getting out of their market share positions over there where they control the market. They have the share of the houses. The torch is passing.
All right.
I respect your opinion, though. And to a point, you're 100% correct.
I mean, I don't. Are restaurants going to be able to afford it over there? I mean, I don't know what the prices are.
Fair
like.
question. Kevin Yancey, this is a great call.
We're seeing that as a problem, right around us now. I don't know what the prices are like on Ivy, but if it's as
Expensive, yeah, expensive, costly to rent there. Then the mom and pops won't be able to afford there. Of course not. Of course not. Kevin Yancey, who's watching in Waynesboro, says Tiffany's Seafood in the UVA Shopping Center. That's the shopping center next to the Foods of All Nations Shopping Center, the one Hunter tried to buy. Tiffany's used to be a banging seafood option, and he's right. He's 100% right. Here's another follow-up question I was thinking about. UVA owns the Ivy Square Shopping Center, right? We
Okay.
understand that UVA is eventually going to convert this shopping center to other aspects that fulfill its needs, likely administrative buildings or classrooms. Will UVA, because it's growing that way, UVA has put a flag on the Ivy Quarter and said, we're going to expand this way. It's our vision. It's part of our vision. Will they include a restaurant in the redevelopment of Ivy Square Shopping Center to offer an amenity or to fill a niche for the many UVA employees that work along the west side of Charlottesville?
Would that be their restaurant?
It would be theirs, that they would potentially outsource the labor like they do the dining halls to like an Aramark, whatever the hell, however you say it. And Aramark tried to open at 5th Street Station with the Pee Wee Wings, the BurgerFi, the Auntie Annie's. They have a lot of brands,
They got
Aramark.
BurgerFi.
Yeah, I think that's the name on 5th Street Station.
Yeah, they got it in there.
Yeah. Is it open though?
Yeah, I've been there.
And it's, okay. That's Aramark,
Okay.
BurgerFi. They were going to take that entire strip and do a vertically integrated, here are 5 or 6 different brands under the Aramark umbrella. And they were going to make that whole strip, but then COVID hit.
Kind of like a mall.
Yeah, food court.
Mall food court. Yeah.
Food court based on storefronts with the same back end, with everything next door, economies of scale, one truck delivering the food to the same backstop, trying to improve margin that way. But then COVID hit. That's what they were going to do.
Interesting.
Anyway, Neil Williamson likes the Montpelier at Bel Air. What's your sandwich at Bel Air? I'm going to ask Alex Erpy that.
It's been,
What's his sandwich at the markets? The Tiger Fuel.
It's probably been a decade, but I think
You haven't had a Bel Air sandwich in over a decade?
I never go to Ivy.
They have markets all over the place. I've said on this talk show many times, I think the food and beverage brand that generates the most revenue is the markets. The Tiger Fuel markets in all of Central Virginia, anyone in the food and beverage business, I think the markets locally generate the most revenue. Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, nationally generate the most revenue. Locally, it's the market. But you haven't been in there in 10 years.
Well,
This is what you need to do.
It's a vague simplification. I don't know how long it's been. It's been a while.
You mentioned on previous talk shows that you haven't been to the breweries at 151 in over a decade. This is what I would like for you to do on one weekend.
These aren't exact measurements.
I would like for you
by any means.
and your friends and Liza on a Saturday or Sunday to drive to Bel Air,
get a sandwich,
to get some sandwiches,
and then go get drunk,
and then go to 151 and go Pro Renata, Blue Mountain Brewery, Devil's Backbone, and then come home. Have a designated driver. The sandwich will give you a good base to have beers at each location. That's called fun. You would enjoy it. It's very enjoyable. It's very enjoyable. Scott Aaronworth says this. He's giving you a little bit of a zing.
I hear that. You're driving this weekend.
Judah getting a little zing from the attorney in Virginia Beach. Scott Aaronworth says J Dubs has lived in Charlottesville for a lot of his life, and he's not been to the market in over 10 years. Shake my head. Shake my head. Next topic I want to throw to you. I want to throw this. I want to throw the new owner of Moe's, Derek Bond. He owns the Melting Pot. He's a dynamic guy. He has a vision. He's a man and businessman rooted in common sense. He knows how to interact with people. He's even-keeled with temperament. He kept his staff fully employed at the Melting Pot during COVID by treating them right. He will take the Moe's and get the food truck really rocking and rolling over there. I would expect to see a lot of catering and off-site food and beverage business with him as the new owner. And I think the brand is in fantastic hands after a good seven-year plus run from the Abrams. I think it's dynamite. I believe yesterday, in fact, I know, was the first day of ownership for him. So congratulate Derek. We'll have Christina Blount on the program. I hope I'm saying your last name right, Christina. If not, I apologize. I will get it right before tomorrow. And she's part of the ownership team, the leadership team over there. And we'll talk about some of the plans for the business moving forward. I want this topic. I'm going to ask you what sandwich you get, Alex Erpy, at the market. I also want to cover this topic, Charlottesville, what it's missing. We've touched on this briefly. Cover this with you. If we can go back to the two-shot, Judah, if we're not already on it.
We are.
It is desperately missing. Carol Thorpe says, Judah, you should ask I Love Seville to pay for your assigned field trips.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Judah, you can go, and you can afford an $8 sandwich.
and a week,
the beers
and a day
of
of
Pro Renata are
carousing.
$6. $6. That's what they are. The Hop Drone is the one I would suggest.
Hop drone?
Hop Drone, the IPA at Pro Renata.
Why would I get a hop drone? You know I don't like.
Okay.
You know I'm not an IPA fan.
All right. What will we get? What would you get? You want some Gozas?
I mean, let me.
You like
Take
you like
a look.
lagers, right? You like lagers.
Yeah, lagers are good.
You like Gozas, right? You like a good sour, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll drink an IPA. It's just not my favorite.
I understand. They have Gozas and sours.
Let's
I want you to
see.
be happy. Kathy Clark Gelbert is watching the program.
Love you, Kathy.
She says she loves Ivy Provisions, guys. She's watching the program. Kathy, would you buy a Judah Wickhauer poster for $19.95 if it was signed?
If I was wearing an '80s,
We'll sell Judah Wickhauer posters for
an
$19.95.
'80s sweater and
Oh, that would be so good if we had a Judah Wickhauer poster. I didn't mean to pile on him. I apologize, all right. If I was a pilot on you, I apologize. I just want you to get out and about and enjoy the abundance of riches we have in this community. And, maybe you'll meet a little special, significant other over there. All right, let me throw this to you, Judah. We talk about what the community is missing, right?
Yeah.
And then I also want to throw this to you. You know how we were talking about the hotel and the conference center and the event space that's coming that UVA is building? And we highlighted last week, spring is the arrival. So on that Ivy corridor, you got the data science school that's coming, and then you got a hotel and conference center and event center.
This stuff's like what, 5-10 years out?
The hotel's this spring. They're halfway done.
Yeah, the one that we showed pictures of.
Yeah, halfway done. The data science school is it less than a year away? I think less than a year away. Can someone offer some intelligence? 18 months or under? So here's the question I have for you. A, where's the people to staff a hotel, an event center, a conference center, and a data science school going to come from?
That's a good question.
B, some of these upper level positions are going to carry six-figure salaries, undoubtedly. C, if these six-figure salaries that UVA is going to hire to staff a data science school, a hotel, a conference center, an event center, these people, are they going to come from outside the community? If they do come from outside the community, what impact does it have on the housing stock and driving up cost of living? Right? Even for the folks that are not at the top of the pay scale at the hotel, the conference center, the event center, and the data science school, let's just talk the folks that are in the middle of the pay scale.
Well, they're even worse off, and the people at the low end of the pay scale are worst off of all because obviously, somebody with a six-figure income isn't going to have much of a problem getting a house in Charlottesville or Albemarle County.
Right.
But somebody in the middle or towards the bottom, I mean, it's the same thing that's happening everywhere else.
And they're going to but they'll have to live somewhere.
Yeah.
So there's my point right there.
Exactly. They're going to be looking for places, I don't know, out in Waynesboro.
There's my point.
Is Waynesboro still affordable?
You have a university that's expanding west. They're building a hotel, a conference center, an event center. They just bought a Foods of All Nations shopping center, Ivy Square. They're building a data science school. They have to hire to make these businesses or these operations run. If they hire from outside the community, this is going to impact housing. No question about it. Even the folks at the middle level of the price scale are going to impact housing. No question about it. You can clearly see how you see hundreds, if not a couple thousand, of new bodies here just from those operations alone. I also legitimately wonder where or how they're going to staff these operations. Yeah. Locally, it's going to be impossible.
Well, I mean...
unless they pay significant, which maybe they do.
I mean, by locally, you're going to have to mean, within 40 or 50 miles of Charlottesville.
Right. And then offer some moving expenses.
I don't think they're going to do that.
I mean, they would for the general manager or the top 2 or 3 people.
But we're not talking about the general manager or the people making six figures. We're talking about all the other people. And so by what I mean by local is going to be 40 or 50 miles from Charlottesville is that you're not going to find people living in Charlottesville looking for a low-end job at the UVA hotel or whatever.
Katie Pearl, I'll get to your comment here in a moment. We'll relay it to Alex Erpy, where she says, can we also touch on the fact that a low six-figure earning ain't what it used to be, especially if you have kids. She has 5 kids. 5 kids. We can certainly touch on that. I mean, the head of Walmart in his earnings call said even wealthy families are pinching pennies now. Even wealthy families are pinching pennies. So here's the topic for a cocktail party for you. Why is the $60 and under dinner option in the Ivy Corridor not as robust with the options when compared to other pockets of Charlottesville and Albemarle County, especially in the urban ring? Second topic I have for you for a cocktail party. How in the heck is the University of Virginia going to hire staff for a hotel, conference, event center, and data science school when hiring is so difficult? The follow-up question to that is, should they get to full speed at hiring, what's the impact that's going to have on cost of living and the housing ecosystem? Because I think it's going to be dramatic. The next topic, before we get to Alex Erpy, and we'll touch on this with Alex, what does Charlottesville need more of? If I was advising people in this community to launch a business, and I can't believe I'm doing this because in some ways they would be a competitor. And you know we do offer a lot of consultation and advice to people who want to launch companies. I mean, that's one of the services we provide. We've become a news desert. We've become a desert for news. The Daily Progress, the paper of record, has one reporter, and she has no real ties to the area. She's new to the area, and she's covering the UVA beat. Not the City Hall beat, not the local government beat, not the Albemarle development beat, not the Charlottesville development beat, not the politics beat. She's covering the University of Virginia. The paper of record for our community has one reporter. Charlottesville Tomorrow, I love the nonprofit website Charlottesville Tomorrow. I love what Giles is doing. They just don't put out a lot of content. There's not a lot of content being put out by them. NBC 29 and CBS 19, I used to work at NBC 29. We put our clients' call to action messages, we manage their advertising dollars on NBC 29 and on CBS 19. We love those stations, but the reality is the reporters are fresh out of college, they're 22, they're 23, and they're using CBS 19 and NBC 29 as an 18-month or 24-month springboard to another job. We are in a news desert, and someone who has institutional memory or can create content, and Sean Tubbs does a great job of doing this. Sean Tubbs is dynamite. He does a great job of doing this. He understands the community, he understands the market, he has institutional memory, he's a content machine, Sean Tubbs, a content machine.
He's on the Charlottesville subreddit every week.
He's a beast.
I'm not going to out his...
No, he posts it. He openly talks about it on Twitter that he's posting the content on the Charlottesville subreddit.
Oh, yeah. I'm just not going to give up his...
his handle.
Yeah.
But Sean is one person.
Yeah.
And one person can only churn out so much content.
Yeah.
And the content that he's
he's got a particular focus as well.
That's what I'm saying. How would you describe the focus that he's churning?
I mean, he follows the
planning and zoning.
Yeah,
and
planning
development.
And zoning and housing and development and stuff like that.
And there's an undoubted need for that niche. We need that. He's a watchdog with zoning and planning and development.
Yeah.
But that is a very hyper-focused niche.
Right.
Hyper-focused. And the audience base for that content niche or content vertical is narrow. You would agree, right?
Yeah. Not everybody's going to find that information interesting.
Exactly. I can't believe I'm saying this, but someone creating a news platform, community would embrace it.
Especially if they found a way to aggregate stuff like Molly Conger and Sean Tubbs.
That's easy to do. I think Dave McNair is doing that with the DTM, with his newsletter. He's aggregating them in a newsletter that hits inboxes.
Okay.
I'd like to see I'm a news junkie. You know I'm a news junkie. I have lately, my junkie fix is not being filled because the content's not there. Mm-hmm. And it's because the Progress, when they were churning content with Allison Rabel and with Ginny and with Catherine, they were doing 2 or 3 pieces of content a day. Now they're down to 2 to 3 a week.
Yeah.
Tops. And you know what? I hate to say this. I'm going to be straightforward. I'm probably calling them today to cancel my subscription. Interestingly, you sign up for the subscription online, but you can only cancel by calling. What is up with that?
Yeah, that's
Bush League. That's a barrier of entry that prevents cancelization because they're relying on people being lazy. And I'm sure that happens.
No doubt.
I mean, it's so intimidating now making a phone call. I'm like, I have to pick up the phone and I have to call and talk to these people and I have to tell them why and I have to talk. I mean, can't we just text? Right? Do people feel that way now? I do. Let's get Alex in the mix. I love this guy, the Antonio Banderas of finance. Who feels that way, viewers and listeners? You mean I gotta call him? And I gotta stay on hold? Oh,
I
gosh.
found them.
He is the most amazing friend in the world. He's brought goobers.
Found them.
Gosh, Judah's got a
First time.
smile. Here, let me hold him up. He's gonna get the
Hold him
three-shot
up.
ready. Friends,
Thanks to Nick, who discovered that they were in Kroger.
Nicholas Urpy.
Nice.
Nicholas Urpy, I wish you were here enjoying the goobers with us. A couple of Tuesdays ago, we had a fantastic conversation on goobers. And Judah, we found, has been quite felonious with his habits in movie viewing.
Felonious?
As he sneaks goobers into cinemas from East Coast to West Coast across the country. No 600% markup on sweets and candies at the cinema. Judah goes to the dollar store and purchases the goobers instead. Is that right, Judah?
Which is a smart
Well,
man.
it's
He's the smartest man in the
He
world.
preserves his consumer surplus.
We should open.
it's been-
Consumer
Well, that's what they hear.
surplus.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we going to eat them?
Yeah, I've
You
never
do the
had one.
honors.
I've never had one, so this
Say
is
hello to
first time.
the Antonio Banderas of Finance, Alex
How's
Urpy.
it- How you guys doing today?
It's great to see you.
Good.
I'm
Good to
so
see you.
excited
Better
about
now.
this. We're eating
Same
goobers. Judah, are you opening your box as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured I'd get one for Judah, just otherwise how we didn't like hands.
Yeah, you'd need the go-go gadget on
Exactly.
to reach it. So Judah's behind the director's table, so he's a little further away.
this
Judah, this is your idea.
These are.
These were
the
your idea.
best.
We're eating
Oh, they're
goobers
good.
here on the
Thank
talk
you,
show.
Nicholas.
Thank you, Nicholas Urpy.
They're good.
This is the first goober of my life.
You've never
here.
had them
You got
I've
a
never
little-
had them either. No.
Me neither.
These are excellent.
They're
Yeah.
good.
How would you describe the goober taste?
Tastes like a good salted peanut with
Oh.
chocolate on it.
These are damn good.
Yeah. I
This-
can see how this would be addicting.
So addicting. The salt of the peanut complements the finish of the chocolate quite nicely.
I got these. I first started getting these in Los Angeles, I think, when I was a kid going to the movie theater. And
I would sneak these in as well.
Yeah.
Neil Williamson sharing the history of goobers.
I
I'm going to
have-
read the history of goobers from you. Go ahead, Judah.
I have no problem buying these from the cinema.
Well, Regal's filing for bankruptcy because Judah's sneaking candy in.
Yeah.
I'm also guilty.
Alex Urpy's sneaking candy in. I sneak candy in as
I'm
well.
different than Judah. I do have a problem buying them. I know too much economics, and they're
No, you have a problem buying the candy at the theater, right?
Yeah.
It's absurd. The markup's absurd.
well, they're trying to take my consumer surplus.
Yeah. And not only is the markup absurd, the quantity, which is what you're saying, the quantity is smaller.
Oh yeah.
So you're getting a smaller amount for 4x the price. When you can just do as you've done, go in bulk to Costco.
Basically,
And dude, I'm really happy.
or just
So,
don't eat anything.
here's the background of the goober. Are you ready? The history of the goober.
I'm ready.
Goobers are chocolate-covered peanuts. They are small, round, or oval, and generally irregular in their shape. These chocolate-wrapped peanuts are called goobers due to the name referring to peanuts in some areas. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
A goober is a nickname for a peanut?
I think it's a southern thing.
You knew that?
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear it. It's
I
not.
didn't know that.
I don't think I would have. If somebody had asked, I don't know if I would have come up with that explanation.
I
But
didn't know that. Goobers were first invented in the year 1925 with a trademark filed in. What date is that? That's a difficult number to read. It looks backwards. Anyway, it was trademarked, but it was first invented in
What was it, a
1925.
Latin one, MCEM, one of those things.
It was. What date do you think that is?
Yeah, that I'm not sure.
So weird. Right?
Yeah, it's just,
Goobers have often
unless
been.
they're from the future.
Goobers have often been eaten as a movie snack and are sold with popcorn. And movie theaters like to sell goobers because they make people thirsty, which drive
Really?
soda sales. That's
clever.
why the movie theater emphasizes salty
Of
aspects.
course, popcorn.
Interesting.
Popcorn makes you thirsty,
Which,
which makes you buy more Coca-Cola.
right. And what better margin is there than soda? That margin is obscene,
Of course.
right?
Well,
Fill
so is
out
the
a-
popcorn.
Oh, the popcorn margin is ridiculous.
Crazy. But
It's crazy.
Remember, that's how. Remember, that is how the theater kind of makes.
That's how they make their money.
That's how they make their money and get some of it. So when I talk about consumer surplus, I don't mean like extra consumers. What I mean is, if I would go to the movies for $20, but the price of the ticket is $12, because the movie theater, remember, has to figure out a price that will get everybody.com.
Yeah.
So there are some people, let's say Judah's like, I will never go to see a movie that's more than $12, right? And I'm sitting here saying I would pay $20 to go see a movie. Well, the theater can't sell Judah $12 tickets and me $20 tickets. It's illegal. Right? How would you do it? How would you figure out? How would the theater know, yeah, Judah's the guy that I need to sell a $12 ticket to, but Alex, he'll pay $20.
That's discrimination.
You can't do it, right?
Yeah.
So what theaters will do is they set all the tickets at $12, but that allows me to have a surplus. In other words, I would have paid 20, but I'm only paying 12, which means I've kind of made $8. In essence, I have a surplus of $8 because I paid only $12 for a movie I would have paid 20 to see. So the theater, of course, wants some of that back. The theater's like,
They need to divest you of the rest of that.
exactly. They need to get the other $8. So how do they do that? Once you're inside the movie theater, they mark up everything. They don't let you bring food in, right? They mark up the other things, knowing that I am more likely, because I would have paid 20, I'm more likely the person who will go and buy the $8
Popcorn,
overpriced popcorn.
soda, yeah.
So that's how they get the other $8 that otherwise would be my consumer surplus. That's kind of how these things work.
Dude, don't you love Alex Erpy? Viewers and listeners, I love this guy. Takes a topic so complicated and it makes it so easily digestible. Alex, that's one of his skills, undoubtedly. Nicholas Erpy is making funny jokes in the comment section. I think this is hilarious. He said, "A goober is my wife's nickname for me."
Well, so apparently, I was stunned by this. So
Nick, you're so funny.
After 2 weeks ago, I told my fiance that, we were talking about goobers on the show. And suddenly she texts me and says, "Who called you a goober?" Right? And
So
I'm
she
like,
thought it was an insult.
apparently,
Yeah.
maybe where she grew up in Montana, apparently it can also be an insult. It's like a low intelligence person.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Which I didn't know either.
Well, Judah knew that. You knew that, right?
I can see her loading shells into the shotgun in preparation of. All right,
Probably.
who called you a goober?
Who called my fiance Alex a goober?
Let me ask you this question. This came up yesterday. So Regal is seriously contemplating
Yes.
bankruptcy, as you know. This was announced Friday. Monday, it sent the cinema stocks, most notably AMC, downward. Regal is the second largest movie theater
AMC
chain.
also went down because they diluted their share pool.
Right. That's also right. Regal is the second largest theater chain in the world. What did you make of that news? And second, based on your ticket conversation, what if the movie theaters made the tickets like $2, $5, lowered them dramatically to appeal to the masses, to make the cinema experience more for the everyday common Joe? Because right now, we talked about this yesterday, the IMAX at Regal,
What is that, $20?
$21.75. $21.75. And you're probably not going to an IMAX by yourself.
I think they massively lowered the prices recently because I swear in the a few years ago, before the pandemic, tickets were like $16, $17.
Well, $21.75 now is up.
But maybe that was the
But this is the IMAX.
maybe that
so-
was the IMAX. Maybe that was just IMAX tickets.
It is around, what is it, 14 for normal?
Yeah, matinee, Sunday matinee, I can speak firsthand as that at Alamo.
Okay.
Friday, Saturday night, you're at $20. I mean, so this ain't cheap.
Yeah.
So the Regal news, the Stonefield tie, and predictions or crystal ball if they just cut the ticket prices by 75%, what that could do to demand.
The issue with cutting the ticket prices to that low number is you got to remember movie theaters have very high fixed cost,
Yeah.
meaning it takes a lot of money to keep the theater running regardless of how many tickets you sell. In fact, if anything, their variable cost, which is the cost per extra ticket they make, is probably very low. Think about it. Once you're showing a movie on a screen, it really doesn't make much difference whether you've got 10 people in the movie theater or 20 people in the movie theater in terms of your cost. Obviously, it makes a big difference in revenue, but cost, it doesn't really cost you more to have 20 seats,
Right.
$20 in the seats rather than 10. The issue is they're probably, if indeed they are on the verge of filing for bankruptcy, they probably do not have the cash to be able to withstand lowering their prices to get a bunch of people in and maybe get them coming again. In other words, if I could see if you had a new movie theater, maybe you were flush with cash, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to drop my tickets to $5, try to get a bunch of people in, then slowly raise them back, so because now they'll be hooked on the movies again. If Regal is in debt, which again, I don't know their financials, but my suspicion, if you're on the verge of bankruptcy, you're either low on cash or you have a lot of debt. You're probably not in a financial position to be able to tell your movie theaters, lose money on every showing for X number of days to get people in.
The question I have is this. If the barrier of entry for participation is the ticket price, and call it $20 for the sake of conversation, $20 a head is barrier of entry. If the barrier of entry was more digestible and it was like $5, how many additional customers would they get that would then dump money into the sodas and the popcorns where the margins are super fat? Could they make the money up from the concession sales? Because right now their model is crapola. People aren't going to the theater, right? That's why they're in the second largest chain in the world is in absolute trouble because we're not going to them. And why we're not going to them is because we're weighing the pros and cons of sitting at our house in the recliner in front of the flat screen TV
And
with the
then
surround sound.
The movie is like what, $2.99, $3.99?
I mean, if you're even paying that, because you're probably,
It's true. If you got a streaming service,
we got Netflix, we got Prime, we got
Netflix
HBO,
free.
and we got Paramount.
Yep.
So we're just going to those and we're finding something. So would the drop from 20 to 5, would they make up the difference in concessions and they get the people like my family who is like, we would just do it at the house and stream and get food and drink from the fridge behind the couch?
That's a difficult question. It's hard to know because you would then have that much more overhead to make up in concession sales. So
You'd have to make a ton of concession sales.
you have to make a ton of concession sales, and that is, in other words, the number of people doing concessions is probably more limited than the number of people buying tickets. So do you have to make that up?
Oh, I agree with that.
Somehow.
I agree with that. You're saying there'll be more people that are apt to pay for a ticket than buy a food or drink item at a movie theater.
Oh, absolutely. You see it all the time. Anytime you've walked into a movie theater, at least my experience, when you walk into the movie theater, I would say, at least from my experience, just eyeballing it, 60-40 split, I would say most people, 60% of people go straight down the thing, show their ticket, go in. 40% will tail off to the concession stand.
And that's Alamo you're talking.
That's Regal.
That's Regal?
Most
Okay.
of what I've seen at Regal is.
Can you
most
order
people
food
go-
at your chair at Regal?
No.
You cannot. But you can at Alamo and Violent Crown.
You
Yes,
can
I
at
believe-
Violet Crown?
I don't know about Violet Crown. Alamo, you can. You put the little tag.
I haven't been to Violet Crown in a while, but the last time I was there,
I
you
can't
couldn't.
remember.
You're right.
couldn't
Violent
order.
Crown, you have to bring it to your seat.
And in fact, some of that stuff, some of that Violet Crown, it was great having the pizza there for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do because there's a new restaurant.
It's a new restaurant
down
now.
there.
I think it's a Japanese style restaurant now.
The problem
Yes.
was,
Yeah.
it wasn't like 2 minutes and we'll have your pizza ready. It was like, hey, I got here, a couple minutes before the movie starts, but now I end up waiting like 10 minutes to get my pizza and bring it into the theater.
Yeah. It was inconvenient. That's why I think for the money, and I think we're in agreement here. that
Alamo rocks.
Alamo rocks.
Although they have their own set of issues, they can't just have somebody walking through the theater 24/7, which is the issue that I've run into. I get a beer, and then I'm drinking it while I watch the movie, and then I start to get close to the end, and I'm looking around, and I don't see anybody come in, to take orders for the last 45 minutes, hour of the movie. And I'm just like, seriously? Now I really want to drink and nobody's going to come in and serve me? And it just kind of ruins things.
It irritates you because you have to get up and you have to go to the bar. And
No,
you come
I
back.
wouldn't even go up. I wouldn't even get up and go get another drink. I just say, well, screw it. If they don't want my money.
Kevin Higgins, the theater should move towards a monthly membership just like Netflix or a gym. Guaranteed income, and in many cases, members won't even show up for the movie.
Pretty sure they have.
They had that. They had
all
movie.
have
Wasn't
them.
it Movie Pass?
Regal has the movie pass. Alamo has one.
There is a monthly membership program, and MoviePass was its own standalone company. Didn't that
But
fail?
that wasn't the same thing as
discounted
having
movies.
a membership. Because you still had to pay for movies. You paid for MoviePass, and then it meant that like
You got a discount at
it
the
was like
box office.
five movies a month. You get charged like I don't know what it was. I
No,
don't
but
Oh.
I think Riedel and Alamo have.
Bob Yarborough, the king of Redfields, just put on the feed. Alamo has a monthly membership program.
Yeah, no, they do.
Nice.
They do.
Yeah.
I think Riedel does as
So you
well.
just pay for that, and you. So what I'm curious of,
I'll text him right now. What do you want me to
I
say
have
to
a
him?
friend who does that. I think
And
by
I'll
the
look it
time
up.
by the time you've watched 2 movies in a month, you basically paid for the
pass.
So the pass basically, in other words,
I'm
the
looking
cost
it
of
up.
the pass is basically the
2
equivalent
movies.
of going twice to the movies.
And then everything after that is
And everything
gravy.
after that is gravy for you as the customer, but obviously Alamo has guaranteed
Okay, here we go.
you bought 2 tickets.
they've got three different plans.
This is Alamo?
Yeah.
Okay, Alamo's got 3 different tiers.
They've got a big boat plan for $17, a bigger boat recommended plan for $20, and the biggest boat plan for $30 a month.
And what's $30 a month at Alamo get you?
$30 a month. The biggest plan, let's see, good for up to 1 regularly priced movie per day.
$30 a month.
Standard online convenience fees apply. I don't know what that
So
means.
30 a month,
Yeah,
you're
they charge
unlimited.
like $1 probably.
You
to
can
get
reserve seats up to 7 days in advance. And
So your $30 a month at Alamo gets you unlimited movies, and you
Oh,
can
here we
reserve
go.
your favorite seats 7 days in advance. There's value there.
this is interesting though. The lowest price plan is only for use in El Paso and Lubbock.
Alamo started in Texas. That doesn't surprise me. So they probably launched this program there and didn't want to eradicate it from those locations. Now Alamo, a franchise chain. So the people that own the Alamo locally are very different than the people that own the Alamos elsewhere. The $30 a month pass makes sense.
The middle-
That's 2.5. 1 second. That's 2.5 movies there. So you basically have to rationalize. If you're going to go 3 times, you do the monthly.
Yeah, but if you don't do once you're going 2 or more times, you essentially
So you win.
you win as the consumer. Alamo is betting, of course, that there's not enough new movies
That's going to
that you're going
entice
to
you.
want to see that you're going to be coming in like 4 or 5 times
Right.
a month.
Well, Alamo could also win if you come in 4 or 5 times and buy
And then buy some
concessions.
popcorn, yeah, which
Yeah.
you might be more inclined to do if your movie ticket was free. In other words,
Yeah.
human mentality, right? is,
That's a great question.
I'm going in for the 4th time. Oh, well, it's a free movie. Why don't I just, why don't I buy the popcorn this time? Whereas if I paid $15 for this ticket, I might be less inclined to buy the popcorn.
This is a great question from Neil Williamson. Is the screening utilities the highest cost of the movie theater, or is the rent the highest cost of the movie theater? I have no idea.
I would not know the answer.
How much do we think? Are we in agreement that Regal is the highest paying tenant at Stonefield? It's got to be.
Probably.
Most likely. I mean, that place is gigantic.
And I
Unless-
would imagine I would guess rent is the higher cost.
Then utilities
than
and
utilities
screening costs.
And screening costs, but I'm not 100% sure. Because
I would
don't
guess,
know
too.
what a movie theater pays to get a movie is what I don't know.
And I would think that they spread the movie cost out amongst, the cost gets spread out extensively by all the
Locations.
all the locations.
The
and-
screening licensing fees, they
Yeah.
have purchasing power because they can go to a movie studio and say, hey, we have 30 theaters that we can send your screen to the silver screen
Plus, I
to.
wonder to what extent that's a revenue split. In addition, I know there's a revenue split in addition to whatever fee they charge. So the revenue split probably reduces the upfront cost.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well
To
said.
do that.
Well said. Carol Thorpe says, I think you guys have to track the revenue streams. Hollywood gets most of the movie ticket where the theater keeps the concession money.
Yeah, there she goes. That's
Carol Thorpe,
correct.
you're a smart lady. This is this is good from Neil. Neil, you're making the show better today. With a Regal Unlimited movie subscription pass, you can watch as many movies as you want, as many times as you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. Plus, get advance tickets as soon as they go on sale. Save 10% on all food and non-alcoholic beverages in the theater, and enjoy Regal Crown Club benefits. It's $23.50 a month. That's a good number.
It's a good deal, but again, I think the fact that Rito's still in dire straits shows that obviously not a lot of people are taking advantage of that deal. And the only reason to not take advantage of it is you intend to see less than 2 movies per month.
Well, what is Netflix a month now? Is it $19.95 a month?
I don't know.
I think Netflix, can someone look at that? Is Netflix monthly Netflix cost? All right, I'm looking it up right now. I think it's $19.95 a month. It hits my thing every month. Let's just call it $20 a month.
Oh, it's up to 20.
Okay? So what I would do is I'd be $23.50 for Regal versus $20 for Netflix. That's how I would look at it. Because everything on my monthly statements, I'm always like valuing it against something else. Like, is this $23.50 worth half a tank of gas? That's how I look at it. And I think Netflix is $20 a month. So I'm sure folks are looking at it like that. What do you think, Charles? Do you have something to add? I don't want to cut you. What do you think Charlottesville's missing, Alex
What I
Irby?
think Charlottesville is missing.
And
That's a good question. I was listening to you talk about the news, which I think is a very legitimate point. There's not a lot of, I would say, thoughtful.
I mean, Katie Pearl says this on the feed. She goes,
What does Katie say?
She says, I get the news from you guys.
Yeah, but I was about to say the same thing. Basically, I get most of my news from I Love Seville at this point.
And I've heard that from other folks, and that's worrisome.
That is very worrisome.
That's worrisome. And not that we're not working hard for you guys, but we are not full-time in the news business. This is something we do because we enjoy it, and it keeps our brand and our company front and center of top of mind, and we have great partners that we enjoy working alongside. But we're not full-time reporters or journalists.
No.
We're not even part-time reporters and journalists.
No.
We're basically commenting on the news that comes out.
We're giving
out
our take on news. And someone who's giving their take on news, now granted, we're breaking some news when it comes to like the business brokerage and who's coming to what places and what buildings have sold. That's just because it's a passion and hobby of ours. But like, we want more news so we can have more content to talk about.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, I know what we're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that's how it is essentially. I mean, it reached the point with, let's face it, you looked at NBC News website, CBS News website, literally you've got either one paragraph snippets, right, of local news, or it's national news. And I'm like, I get bombarded with national news. I don't need national news on my local news station. And then the Daily Progress really was getting very similar. In other words, I would open the paper and I'd be like, national news, an op-ed on national news.
Yeah.
And so it reached the point like I'm not really getting much out of, things like the point of a newspaper, I feel like, is thoughtful discussion of
Local topics. Yeah.
Right? I can get quick snippets anywhere. Like, we're in a fast TV world where if you're just going to give me a few lines on what happened last night, I can probably get that anywhere.
Yeah.
And so if all I'm going to find is op-eds on national topics, the same contentious national topics that you can find in a gazillion places and that everyone is always talking about, I really don't need a local newspaper for that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't serve any additional purpose.
Very well said. Bob Yarborough, the king of Redfields, who is a retired journalist himself. Bob Yarborough was a journalist himself. He's a news junkie. People get their news from Facebook, from Twitter, from unedited, no context sources. It hurts his heart. It hurts his heart.
I mean, to his point, I ran a school newspaper in high school and took a journalism class. Nothing I read today resembles anything that I was taught in that class.
Right.
Like the way they teach you to construct like a news story, the things we would be tested on and like be graded on, nothing you read resembles it anymore.
Yeah, the news that you find today is almost like just someone's blog.
Yeah, it's tweets.
There's no journalistic integrity. People just write whatever.
How many of the clickbait news articles you get, even on the local ones, you'll click it and you realize that the article is like 2 lines and then like the embedded tweet is like so-and-so tweeted this. And there's an embedded tweet and then I scroll down to see like the rest of the commentary after it and I realize there isn't any.
Right.
I mean, it's like it was 2 lines.
And oftentimes they'll copy and paste the actual tweet after they have the tweet linked.
So well, you know why they're doing that. You know why they're doing
content.
that. Well, it's fast content, and that content drive to the website is driving views on the Google ads that are driving revenue there. So, friend of the program, first pulse I ever had out of the University of Virginia was Jerry Ratcliffe, sports editor at the Daily Progress, now running JerryRatcliffe.com. He makes a good chunk of his revenue from the display ads that are on the website that are often sourced from Google's network. So anytime someone visits one of his content is legit, it's robust, it's deep, it's not just 2 paragraphs and leave, which is clickbait. His is robust content.
That's where a lot of journalism is done. A lot of the more not old-fashioned. I don't like to call it old-fashioned because that implies that like we moved on to something better. I would say like the better form of journalism that you don't see too much anymore has now moved to independent journalists with Substacks, with their own columns, because they then have control over writing what they want to write in long form. In other words, they direct people to their websites who are willing to put in the more than 60 seconds it takes to read an actual journalism article, as opposed to, I only have 10 seconds and this is too much, I'm moving on to the next Twitter thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to cancel the $29.95 a month I'm paying with the DP.
Danny, it's up to
It's $30 a month.
$30 a month?
Yeah. For $30 a month is what I'm paying.
Wow.
I'm canceling that, and I'm going to do it today. And I got a call instead of doing it
Is that for the
online.
physical or just for the
I don't get the
website?
physical, just the website.
Just the website.
Yeah, $30. I'm canceling it today. I've proven by having this subscription that I'm willing to pay for news, but I'm not getting the return on what I'm paying $30 a month for.
Certainly.
So that's why I thought news would be something, a local news source. I mean, if you had 2 or 3 people that banded together with a news background, heck, they could partner with us. We have the infrastructure to roll that out. We'd form a joint venture with you guys. We'd become equal partners of this and put out 2 to 3 pieces of content every day. I think the monthly subscription revenue would follow. I think it would follow. Let's go to the viewers and listeners. What does Charlottesville need? Paul MacArthur, who is the king of the South Side, says this: Charlottesville needs something for older kids, preteens, young teenagers to do, like go-karts, batting cages, like the place in Waynesboro, but better. Even a nice miniature golf place. There's nothing to do once they outgrow bounce houses and the weather isn't good for pools, splash pads, etc. Great comment, Paul.
That is, tonight I'll add to his because I think he's exactly right. I think, at least I feel this as a person who just came out of my 20s, hit 30, right? I feel like there's not a lot of places in Charlottesville where if you want to do something with your friends, like that's not going out to dinner.
That's not getting drunk.
Or not going to a bar, exactly.
Yeah.
You can do it. I think that maybe this is because I come from a European background.
Yeah.
In Europe, there are so many places where after dinner, you go get coffee to sit with each other. You go for a walk on their Ramblas, which is like basically the downtown mall. A lot of things are open. There's, in addition to just like ice cream, there are big places to sit. There are coffee shops that have their tables out. Every coffee shop in Charlottesville closes at like 8 p.m. when you come out of dinner, which means basically between dinner and the next morning, your really only option to hang out is bars. And I was never really
you weren't motivated by drinking.
I'm not motivated by drinking. I'm motivated by walking, conversation, even the downtown mall. Really, let's say you get an ice cream at Kilwins or Chaps at the downtown mall. Where do you sit and eat this ice cream?
Well, that's a great point.
There is nowhere. I mean,
They've
there's like
taken the benches because of the homeless.
Because of the homeless.
Yeah.
So the issues they really need, we need to work on making it so that Charlottesville is a place where between dinner and the late hours, you encourage people, high school students, college students, to hang out in constructive ways that don't involve drinking alcohol. And I feel like I think that's a little bit to what Paul is speaking to there. In other words, activities and things that people can do that bring friend groups together, that bring people together in conversation, getting to know each other, that don't revolve around alcohol.
There you go. Well, I've heard that from so many people. So many people. Travis says they have the same issue in Danville. Limited options for kids and younger adults from the entertainment front. I've heard it from so many folks. So many folks. Carol Thorpe says, Scott says Seville needs a great ice cream place. Scott Aaronworth, the attorney in Virginia Beach. Jason Howard, who's the king of Rio Road, says, now that COVID is winding down a bit, is Regal making money off children's birthday parties again? Perhaps. I know Alamo, you can rent the theaters out, so I would imagine Regal could as well.
They have that. I think he's talking about those little birthday rooms. I don't know if you've even seen them,
I have not.
but they have, like, if you go past all of the
Rentable rooms?
yeah, if you go past all the actual like theater doorways, there's a glass window where you can see like a table and and you can put up balloons and streamers and like big happy birthday banners.
That's a
like
great
that.
idea.
But yeah, as to whether or not they're actually being used, I don't know if people are blasé enough about the pandemic to.
Carol Thorpe has said this, and she's 100% right. Charlottesville's missing clubs, bars, and social opportunities for the black community in Charlottesville. And to her point, a recent survey done in the last couple years showcased results that 70% of the African American population locally did not feel comfortable or welcomed on the downtown mall.
Yeah.
And if you speak to many stakeholders in the black and brown community, they've indicated that there's very little to do for those silos or ecosystems locally.
I think the black community is very similar to the Italian background. In other words, they're probably not interested in, I finished eating, now let me go drink at a bar. The black community probably very much also wants to hang out, converse, have coffee, have tea, have something, that kind of front porch, very family-oriented atmosphere that doesn't involve, let's just go drink at a bar.
Is that some kind of like anthropology study there? What is the passionate commitment to Charlottesville has to drinking heavily and boozing it up at bars?
Maybe university town.
Is that what the university influence? But it's not just university.
But it's true.
It's a lot of locals. You're right. You see the bar. Now you look at, have you guys been to the downtown mall at last call, closing time?
No.
I don't think I've
usually
been.
try not
95%, maybe even more than that, white. Darn near close to 100% white at closing time, last call, bars, downtown mall.
Is that more cultural though than?
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is the boozing a cultural thing? Is the boozing like that a cultural thing?
Yeah, the boozing at the bar, like
that's
that.
what I'm saying.
Yeah. I would think it might be.
Is it culturally, or is it reflect? Or let's cut to the point. Is it a disposable income thing?
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. You need disposable income
to booze at the bar.
I guess you could get yourself into debt, but that's a
different show.
That's a different thing. But I think I would imagine for the most part,
right.
If you're middle class white, you have disposable income at the bar. If you're going to the bar, you've got disposable income to do it.
Yeah. Yancey says not everyone's alcohol driven. He says Yarborough says we got the kick-ass skate park for kids, and he encourages people to use that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Absolutely right from Travis. So a lot of people resonating with the content, or they're identifying with what we're talking about. Why don't we do this today, y mañana? What's your plan for Thursday?
So two great guests on Thursday. We're going to have first. Thomas Safranek, he's on the board of directors for the Rivanna Trail Foundation. So they're going to come to talk a little bit about the trail, things you can do there, events that they're going to be hosting there. Followed by Josephine Carr, so she's the tasting room manager for Castle Hill Cider. I'm going to talk a little bit about what's new at Castle Hill, as well as the event that we're having, the Joint Today Mañana for Adelante event, which is August 31st. The evening of August 31st at Castle Hill Cider. You can find it on, if you type in on Facebook, Connect Latino 2022. August 31st, free, that it's free to attend at Castle Hill Cider. Free appetizers going to be provided. There's going to be some awesome cocktails that they will make for us. So Josephine's going to come on to talk a little bit about that.
That's awesome. That is awesome. They, the Erpies and Forward Adelante and Today y Mañana do it right. They are utilizing their platform to really galvanize the community in positive fashions that are committed to local commitment and local support of businesses. The ERPI stand for that. Their financial firm, Emergent Financial Services, stand for that. A-plus people.
Thank you.
Absolutely A-plus people. I'm going to throw it to you. What did you learn today or this week? A little quick hitter that you want to get out there. Judah's got one that he wants to mention to the viewers and listeners that we haven't covered. No pressure.
Let Judah go first.
Yeah, you got 30 seconds to think of it. No pressure. Judah Wickower, the show is yours. What have we learned here? What should be out there that the viewers and listeners should hear?
I think this is a great story. There's the first black-owned brewery in the Charlottesville area is coming soon. It's going to be called the Neon Culture Brewing, and it's being started by the founder and head brewer, Corey Hoffman, and you can look it up. He's got a Facebook page. I don't think he has a location.
No, he's raising
ready
money
yet.
for the location.
Yeah.
So he's in
But,
pre-seed. He's in a fundraising period to get the funds to open. But he is committed to opening a brewery, and we need to champion and celebrate what will be the first black-owned brewery in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
Okay,
Entrepreneurship.
that's big time, and we love entrepreneurship here. Well done, Judah Wickower.
I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Me too. We will be there the first week they're open, undoubtedly. Alex Erpy, my friend, the show is yours.
So I learned, which I'm really grateful for. So last week, Minority Business Alliance gave 3 endurance funds.
Yeah.
Really grateful for Ford Adelante, Sticky Note Creative, which is a very awesome local business, and 4Z Marketing Solutions, also fantastic local business you can check out, and David the Vanguard Award to Zenas Choi. He's going to receive it. He volunteers so much.
He's amazing.
He's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
Volunteers so much. I didn't realize until I had read all the description of everything how much he does to really help. Just being volunteering with Community Investment Collaborative, Young Professional Network, CAR, just does so much. So that's going to be awesome. That's all going to be celebrated, I think, on September 9th.
I love it.
His MBA deal. But last week, all that news came out of all these fantastic awards, so I was really excited to see that.
Such a talented guy. Alex Erpy just got put on the spot, and he just delivered right there. I mean, Mr. Clutch, Alex Erpy over here. Job well done per usual.
No,
And thank you for the
That's lovely.
goobers.
Of course, I said I
yeah.
gotta find these, and thanks to Nick for discovering them at Kroger.
Thank you, Nick. Nick Erpy, you're the best. Nicholas Erpy. And in our book, you are not a goober. You're a super cool guy, Nicholas
There
Erpy. In our book, you're super cool, Nicholas Erpy, our CMO friend. Judah, you crushed it today.
Judah was awesome. Judah.
A+++, Judah B. Wickower. Same with you, per usual.
Thank you. Same
It's
here.
the I Love CVille show. We love connecting with you guys. And watch Today y Mañana on Thursday. Thank you kindly for joining us. So long, everybody, and take care. Well done, Alex.
Great show. Loved it.
That was good.